I'm now talking to the director of the DNR, Keith Creagh. Welcome to the Q1 Buck Bowl.
Thanks for having me, Tim. Glad to be here.
Well, today we're going to talk about a variety of things, and we're going to start with the license and the license fees because they have gone up, and they have not gone up in a long time. But what kind of feedback are you getting, and tell me about the license fees.
Well, first, thanks to the sportsmen and women of this state for allowing us to work with the legislature on a new fee package. And so first we tried to make it so it was simple, fair, and efficient. And we had about 227 different types of licenses, and that was a little complicated.
Sure. Yep.
So we tried to make it easier. We got a ways to go on regulations yet, Tim, so we'll continue to work with the stakeholders on that. But it really is an investment strategy. So we started with the stakeholders and said, if you like what you have, pay what you're paying. If you want to improve it, let's talk about vision, let's talk about habitat improvement, let's talk about putting more COs out in the woods, and then working together as a great partnership with the legislature, with the administration, and with the stakeholder groups.
So what can hunters expect with fees?
What hunters should expect is accountability and return on their investment. This is not about just raising fees. This is about how do you make a difference? How do you make sure we have world-class quality resources for current and future generations to enjoy?
And as we take a look at priorities this year and the upcoming years, where is the DNR going to focus on?
Well, our priorities are a couple. Number one is habitat. It's all about the habitat. And those of you in the Upper Peninsula, you know there's been a couple really tough winters. And so we need to pay attention to habitat in the deer winter complexes and making sure that there's food sources. And so there's a habitat group that's established in the Upper Peninsula. We're doing habitat work, whether it's in streams or on the ground. And so we're really making a difference through partnerships with local organizations to improve the habitat.
Really being proactive then is what you're talking about.
Absolutely. It's too late. Once deer are starving, it's too late. So let's figure out the habitat, let's figure out what they need, let's figure out the ranges, and let's do a better job managing the habitat.
Now, I know there's two proposals on the ballot coming up in November that are going to affect sportsmen in some way. Explain just a little bit about those.
Well, first of all, there was a citizens initiative, and I really appreciate the leadership shown by the sportsmen and women to gather the signatures. The legislature voted on it. That actually becomes effective in March. In the interim, there are two ballot initiatives that are talking about scientific game management, and as you know, we highly support scientific game management and the right to hunt and fish in this state.
Well, it's vital to our economy. People that don't get out and hunt and fish, I don't think realize how much money is spent in our state on this particular aspect.
$4.7 billion is the capacity for hunting and fishing in this state. It's big business, but it's also big tradition. So it's a great intersect between the two.
Now, I know that the DNR relies on hunters out there for a lot of data and information and feedback. What are some of the ways that somebody could get involved in these projects coming up?
Well, for hunters, we really need you to take your deer to check stations. We need you to participate in the surveys. We need you to get involved with your local DNR. Because it's really not about the DNR. It's about those individuals out in the woods, day in and day out. Look at the information people are getting on the trail cams nowadays.
Absolutely.
And so whether there's sighting, whether there's big bucks, whether there's something unusual, that data collection is really important for us as we continue to manage wildlife in this state.
Has the DNR ever thought about making it mandatory for people either to call in like some states do, or when they buy their license, maybe fill out maybe a little 5 or 10 questionnaire, did you get a buck last year, did you, that sort of stuff, so that we have maybe some hardcore data from some hunters?
Sure. Mandatory reporting, mandatory deer checks, those have all been discussed in the past, but we would way rather work with sportsmen and women on a voluntary basis to get good information to inform decision making. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. We have a very active Natural Resources Commission. They take their commission meetings out into the field. We hear from people. We actually collaborate with people, and we get good information back. So I'm real hesitant to say that you need to mandate things.
Right.
I'm more, let's see if we can't partner and get good information.
All right, so we know that you are a sportsman, and you're getting ready to take to the woods as we get ready for deer season. But, tell me about your hunting and what are some of your plans?
Well, first we'll go out and we'll chase some grouse in October. It's, there's no better time than Michigan in the fall.
Yeah,
you get those bluebird days, it's nice and you're out and you're enjoying it. So I'll do a little bit of grouse hunting in October. Go to bow camp third weekend in October. We always do that. Group of people. We've been, it's about 45 years now. I started when I was 2. And
hang on a minute.
Hang on now.
Hang on a minute now.
and then we'll go to rifle camp. And, you know, that's just a tradition of sharing hunting camp with both sons and dads. And so it's a great multi-generation tradition.
Well, it is a good tradition. As we talk to hunters across the state, you know, last year we had a guy who was 84 years old. I remember, I said, what was your best hunting season? My first buck. It was, you know, and that's a long time ago. And I think that tradition continues for a lot of people, a lot of families out there. Let's talk about being out in the woods, though. Tip from you. What's the biggest thing that people should remember as they take to the woods?
Well, the biggest tip is safety. And so know your firearm, shoot it ahead of time, be sure your target, check your tree stands. You know, a lot of those straps on your tree stands that were good last year, they're not good this year. So make sure you're safe first and foremost. And then enjoy it. Get out and enjoy the woods. Do some pre-scouting. It's okay to be in the woods. It's, you know, you forget, get unplugged, enjoy yourself, and enjoy Michigan's great outdoors.
You know, I'd tell people, hey, leave your cell phone back in the truck, but you know, that's the way a lot of people communicate in this day and age. When they're, did you see the buck? It's coming down the fence row.
That's exactly right, and you get great video of it. Yes. You know, but you bring up a great situation. The other thing is the whole ethics about deer hunting and about hunting in general. And there's been some things put on social media that are a little bit questionable about should they be on social media. And so remember, if you post something, make sure it's the right something and be ethical in your conduct.
Thanks for being with us.
Thanks.
The director of the DNR, Creagh, has been with us. I'm Tim Hart, and you're watching the Q1 Buck Pool.